today with the TvZ coming off of MMA. Was the score ended up being 0-2, I believe.
Yes, 0-2. So, and viOLet himself, took out Todd earlier. 2-0.
Yeah, I got to watch that on the main stage.
So that was on the main stage, and now we're going to watch LucifroN, who got a walkover first round. He went against NMrUUG, but NMrUUG wasn't there, so he didn't really go against anything. So
I was really upset to see NMrUUG didn't show up. I know you yourself are a fan of him as well. I was really disappointed to hear that he wasn't going to make it, because I actually wanted to see if he was going to make a showing with how many amazing players are here this weekend.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to see any of his NMrUUG do any damage to his opponents. We're only going to have to watch the walkover of LucifroN. LucifroN here, spawning at the left-hand side of Abyssal City as the Green Terran.
And, of course, playing for Team Karante. Can you roll your R's, by the way? I was going to ask you. Karante.
Well, I speak German, so I guess I could roll my R's.
Ooh.
So we'll see what's going on over here from Team Azubu. It is viOLet, our red Zerg player, spawning up here on the right-hand side, throwing down some mana already.
I like your camera work there. It's pretty talented.
I am a well-practiced observer until I miss some major engagement.
Yeah,
somebody makes a Reddit thread, and it's going to be just awful. But
I'm going to sit here and make the Reddit post under my desk here, just typing on my phone.
That would be some pretty handy micro work. I mean, I know you're a pretty good StarCraft player, but being able to cast at the same time as well as doing all the typing for a Reddit post, because God forbid you put down a single mistype or a single grammatical error, they will let you know.
I think that would be the end of my esports career for sure.
Well, let's talk about the game here. LucifroN already thrown down his supply depot, and we're at the 12, so maybe we're going to see a barracks go down or possibly go straight on into command center first, get that really nice economic advantage over his opponent. This is kind of a long rush distance here, all the way over to the other. Oh, and a little bit of a pause there.
I'm upset.
You're upset?
We had to wait a long time to watch this game, and now we have to wait for a pause. But at least LucifroN had to wait for viOLet. Now viOLet's waiting for LucifroN, so maybe they're even in terms of...
Yeah. Well, now we're 1 for 1 in pauses. And that actually makes 2 pause. So we need another 2, and we have a nice little bear or something coming out.
So it looks like
Space Shark in the middle of that.
Yeah, it's not a J Shark. Don't get confused. We don't need any of that going on. So we do have the hatch first, along with the command center first, coming out from both sides. Nothing too crazy, of course. A map like this, these players are very, very high caliber. So I mean, and it looks like actually a gas before his barracks. So that's kind of different.
Yeah, well, that will allow him to go straight on into his factory as soon as the barracks starts to go down here, and that's going to be really nice for him. Get those really nice Hellions start popping out and really just do a little bit more damage to the map control of Azubu viOLet. So over here, let's take a look at what's going on over here. Looks like he's just going down for his spawning pool. Do you think he's going to be going for gasless for the most part, or do you think he's going to go straight for that gas?
I think he's going to. Well, there's our answer. So I'm gonna go with he's going to get gas. No, I think he's going to go up to a quick layer. We're seeing a lot in the metagame right now. A lot of players are really opting to get a layer as soon as possible. That way they can kind of differentiate their tech. They can either go Mutalisk, they can go Infestors, maybe they just want to go for primarily upgrades. But we're seeing really quick layers. And on a map like this, I don't see viOLet taking a quick third. I see him going for a little bit more tech, just because of how short the distance is between the two. It's not short, but it's a little bit shorter than some of larger maps, obviously.
Now, LucifroN actually is going to be joined here by his brother, his younger brother, Vortex, who's actually already here himself. So we have a little bit of sibling rivalry. They always seem to show up at the same tournaments all the time. I mean, there's only so many StarCraft tournaments you can go to, but...
Well, and being on the same team as well. But the weird thing is, for some reason, I feel like they always end up playing each other in the middle of the tournament. And I think that'd be so hard to play. Somebody, I'm sure they practice together all the time. So I'm sure they have similar builds, or they use similar builds that they practice one another with. So it's got to be really hard to play against. I mean, you've got mind games in a normal situation, but to play against your practice partner, your brother, probably a really close friend, it's got to be really challenging.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be one of those moments where it's like in the middle of the Roman Senate, and he just looks at him and goes, "Et tu?"
Yeah, that's exactly what they think. And actually, it looks like the shark's moving in there.
Yeah, that shark, man. There are a lot of sharks here, but a couple of Zergling are going to come in here, try and pick off a couple of these SCVs, and they are going to be a little bit successful. They do get one of those SCVs. The rest of the 3 of them are running back home to Mama. The first Hellion on its way out, but not too soon. But we do have 2 Marines that are going to pop out.
I really like this from viOLet. He scouted that the barracks was late, and he knew the timing of the gas geyser, so he knew that his opponent wasn't going to have too many Marines out, and as well, playing even a little bit, I don't want to say greedier, but riskier from LucifroN going for the reactor first, so he had nothing out on the map. It's nothing crazy, but of course now viOLet does have all that crucial information from his opponent. Right,
and speed finishing up here for viOLet, so he's going to get a lot of map control coming out of these Zergling as soon as he starts to pop out a bit more. Right now in the unit counting station, we have 35 drones, 10 more Lings in production right now. As soon as speed finishes, they're going to be popping out. But it looks like LucifroN going for a Cloak Banshee play, as he's already got his Reactor Hellion starting to pump out as well.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to matter because there are 20 Zerglings on the way from viOLet right now. 10 more are in production. 2 Evo Chambers come down, so we might actually see a little bit of pressure coming out from viOLet here. There is no Baneling Nest, no Roach Warren, but there's a lot of Zerglings on the map, and LucifroN does not have a lot to deal with this. He's getting a partial wall going off, but there is still a way to get through there.
Oh, there's definitely a way to get through there. And not only that, but there's only 1 Hellion, and he has to line them up perfectly. But here come all of those Zerglings. They're going to go in straight for that bunker. They wrap around onto the other side. The other 2 Hellions do come out from the reactor. And now the Zerglings are into the main base. They're going to be chasing off after that 1 Hellion. And it looks like those Hellions will survive. None of the SCVs in the main base will go down. And the bunker is saved here by LucifroN. But still, these Zergling do a good amount of damage and get out. Workers killed 9 right now for Zubu viOLet against LucifroN.
I'm going to be honest, I think LucifroN held that beautifully. I thought he was in a little bit more trouble, but the amount of Hellions that he had out in time, and look at this from LucifroN, are actually taking a 3rd base right now, or making a 3rd command center, so he knows that the pressure is not going to come again. Has viOLet started his lair yet?
No, he has not. We do have Spore Crawlers going down. He did see the Tech Lab and the Starport, so he's making that perfect response to that. We do have the Hellions still moving around. They did just get a whole bunch of Zergling roasts there. We still have this nice little scouting overload over the Tiberium silo. I don't know why Command & Conquer references are coming into StarCraft 2, but they will be.
I was thinking that at the same time, actually. But this is kind of interesting. LucifroN's moving across the map with 6 Hellion. He actually could apply a little bit of pressure, at least deny creep, because viOLet, he used all his Zerglings to play aggressive with. He has 12 more Zerglings production. 1 is on the way. So, I mean, this amount of Hellions could actually do quite a bit of damage if he's not careful.
Now, on this map, how do you feel about mech play?
I'm always a fan of mech play. I actually encourage it as much as possible. On this map in particular, I think there's some really good spots he could get into with maybe a little bit of a contain going on, but it looks like he's actually going to do some pressure with 2 Banshees and 6 Hellions. And this 3rd base actually might be in a lot of trouble. If he can target fire down the Spore Crawler with the Hellions, looks like the Hellions are going to get fully surrounded, but actually doing a very nice job of trying to wiggle them away, getting behind the mineral patches, using the lineups as much as possible. It looks like all the Hellions are going to fall, and actually very nicely done by viOLet, cleaning up as much as that as he can, and really LucifroN can't do much else now.
Yeah, especially with that Spore Crawler and the Queen there, there's not really too much damage he could do to the drones. The 2 Banshees will just kind of have to hang out for a little bit. Looks like they are going to start looking for what else they can harass. There's actually even random Spore Crawlers on the Creep Tumors here and there. Now, it looks like there are a bunch of Zergling coming over here to go into LucifroN's natural base, but a whole bunch of Hellions also got caught as well, leaving LucifroN completely undefended. He does have 2 more Hellions coming out, but he is going to be able to pick off, viOLet's going to be able to pick off just a couple more workers here, and this constant harassment is doing such good work for viOLet.
Yeah, LucifroN's cutting a little bit of corners here. He wants to take his 3rd. He wants to get up to 6 gas to really start pumping out mech units. He's going up to 5 factories right now with double upgrades going on. His first Thor is in production, and viOLet does see it with an Overseer scouting across, but both players are kind of cutting corners right now. We do have 5 Roaches in production, so very nice job with the 2 Banshees actually target firing down a couple of drones. They're actually getting the Queen extremely low, might be able to finish it off, and viOLet going for the appropriate tech, getting Roach speed, getting pathogen glands, and so, I mean, how do you feel about this response from viOLet so far?
Oh, the response from viOLet is actually pretty well played. He did get the +1/+1 on his melee, so we probably will be seeing some Broodlords later on, just getting those all ready and set up so that once the Broodlords come out there, Broodlings will have the +1, but we also see the +1 range going down as well, as we see a couple of Roaches starting to pour out here. Noticing the huge mech switch coming out here from LucifroN, he's gonna need those Roaches to really do a lot of damage. Thors are actually very weak to large numbers of Roaches just because of how slow the rate of fire is. Roaches can just run up and just pick them off.
Absolutely.
Now, a little bit more Zergling harassment going around here, too.
I didn't know the Marine's still on the map. Yeah, so it looks like more Hellions are coming out. No Blue Flame it has been researched as of yet. And yeah, the Roaches are primarily to take out the Thors in low counts, and then he uses the fungal growth to really target down the Hellions, because otherwise those Hellions actually do quite a bit of damage just because of the magnificent AoE damage that they do. But viOLet's going to have a pretty good composition. I want to see him take a 4th. There we go, actually, in the northern base, or the northern spot. And he does actually have a Hive on the way as well.
Yeah, that Hive is going to be just jumping straight on into the Greater Spire. As we can see, the Spire is already going down. The timing should be perfect to see the Greater Spire and Hive finishing at the same time. We're going to go straight on into those Broodlord count. Looking at the anti-air response coming out here from LucifroN, he still has only the Tech Lab popping out Banshees. He's getting ready for Infestors that are going to be trying to fungal growth his army. And in using his Banshees, he can hopefully get a couple of fungal growths to go down straight on those Banshees as opposed to his main army. And that's going to be really helpful for his mech army. But if those Broodlords come out, he's only got Thors.
Yeah, and depending on what the timing is, we might see actually LucifroN go for something here. He's building quite a few Banshees still, and I really, really like this. He's just sprinkling a couple of them on top, adding in that DPS, because Banshee DPS is so crazy if they are left unchecked, especially if you were to catch, viOLet without a detector, or if any sort of detection whatsoever. So I'm actually really, really happy to see that from LucifroN. He's not overdoing it and building, like 10 or 15. He's only got 5, I believe, on the map right now. But yeah, that's a scary thought right there.
I want to watch the 5-man Infestor hit squad come over to this third base. LucifroN just barely grabbing this third base right now. He's starting to rally some SCVs over there. But the 5-man hit squad, where did it go? There it is. It's still going. It's creeping, and it's going straight on into there. Now, is it going to be a whole bunch of infested Terrans? I sure hope so, because he can target down this entire command center very quickly. And there go all of those infested Terrans going straight down, and it looks like he's going to try and lift and get away.
Wow.
Now here comes the Hellions in response. It looks like he's not going to be able to take down that third base at all, so that's actually a lot of energy he did spend there, but he did get a couple more SCVs kills. Yeah, so now it's going to be going up to 24 versus 11. But here comes another huge bunch of Roaches trying to single target some of these Thors down, and those Thors take a long time to remake.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that LucifroN hasn't pulled SCVs to start repairing, because now the Thors are starting to get targeted down. There we go, starting to get the repairs going. That Thor is getting targeted down. Looks like the Hellions are coming up with the Banshees. The Banshees in combination should be able to clean this up very, very quickly. And I think viOLet's doing a great job of just splitting up LucifroN. His split micro right now is not helping him out too much. And it looks like another wave of eggs have been dropped by those the 5-man hit Infestor squad. And they're targeting down some of the SCVs, some of the mules down at the bottom base, along with the command center.
Oh man, those space eggs just apparently erupt not into chickens or space chickens, they erupt into horribly deformed, infested Terrans, and they are really good at taking down the mules that were already there, which is going to be a lot of energy that was spent there by LucifroN. Now we start to see some of these Broodlords starting to come out. We have +2 range weapons going down here for the ground army, as well as looking at what LucifroN's upgrades at. He's got 2-2 right now. He still has not started his 3-3, but here comes a large army. There goes another fungal growth on the Banshees. There's only a handful of Thors here, but the amount of Roaches are actually pretty small as well. Those Broodlords are really the scary part of this army.
Yeah, I don't think LucifroN has anything to really deal with this. I mean, of course, Thors are able to do damage to the Broodlords, but I don't think it's going to help here. The Broodlords have too many Broodlords, and there's the GG from LucifroN. So viOLet taking game 1.
Wow, what a game number 1 that was. So
absolutely,
I can't even believe that was such a small engagement. And, it's if you really look at that game, it was just a whole bunch of very, very small engagements all over the place. Mostly, actually, I should say, LucifroN's natural, but
LucifroN's natural in his third. Yeah, viOLet did a great job. He split him up. He did, he used good compositions here and there, split up his army. He knew with mech, I mean, what's the downside to it? Well, it's slow. I mean, you have the Hellions, which move very quickly, but the Banshees and Thor, they take a little bit of time to set up. So very well played by viOLet.
Very well indeed. So it looks like we're going to run to a quick ad before we go into our next game. So once we get the second map set up, we'll be right back.